dip in your hip and glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert. Welcome, everyone. And, for those of you that are here today, so we have an awesome show actually planned, but I want to start this show off first, which is Beacon in the Dark, by the way, by saying happy birthday to the other host of the show, Marcy Kosic. So, Kosic.
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
It's been one of those days. So, happy birthday to Marcy. It's her birthday, and she's still doing a show with us today. So, that is awesome. Isn't that awesome?
What a way to spend it.
It's an awesome time. So, welcome, Linda. How are you? So, I was doing some research and I had a thing and I just plopped it on. So I just built the show and said, aha, let's do this. And I get that way. I go into like research mode and I can't help it. And thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. So I thought what we talk about today, and by the way, I'm Susan and
I'm Marcy.
That's Marcy, by the way. So welcome to Beacon in the Dark. And don't forget to excuse me, like, subscribe, and don't forget, hit that bell notification over on YouTube, and that'll let you know every time that the Rift Nation Network goes live. You'll be notified. And thank you so much, and follow us also over on Facebook. So I thought we could get into some information on some ways we can find our soul's purpose. Now, there's many purposes in life, there's many things that we have to look at, but the main thing, or the area that I kind of want to structure on today, is your soul's purpose. Because some of us, we feel like lost. We don't know. It's like, you're supposed to be doing something, but you don't know what, right? You know that you're supposed to be somewhere, or you have to do this, or you feel like, why am I here? I'm lost. Those are the questions that kind of come to mind about when we're looking for what it is we're meant here to do. And some of us are not. Some of us have to fight in order to get there. We're not going to remember our soul contract. So there are some of us out there, like, what? That's not going to remember our soul contract. So we're not all as lucky as Marcy is.
Oh, it's not luck. It's like, I have a friend of mine, and she's a psychologist, and she goes, Marcy, I didn't even know you were abused. I said, because I work on it every day.
Yeah.
It's not just, I mean, I've had it where I've lost jobs, I've lost cars, I've lost money, I've lost everything. And a lot of times we're stripped down to everything to get into who we really are. And a lot of times it seems like we're on a journey, or things are happening, and we have a soul signature or a soul sound in us that goes on, where when we're in a certain vibration, like I rearranged my room, I bought some more chimes, and my room kind of made a humming noise. And I remember, like, I did that one time with my friend Bear, that was half Native American, half black. He goes, then that means that it's humming. It's and your whole body does the same thing. It'll resonate. It'll make a sound. It'll make an energy as to, oh, aha, this feels right, And it is work. It's a lot of digging, but
Well,
there's
in order,
nothing good of it.
yeah,
What?
in order for people to start on their soul purpose, like I said, I did some research. And the first thing that they say to work on is developing your self awareness. Now, that, to me, that kind of makes sense. I mean, if anybody out there's ever raised a teenager, you know that. Okay. So it's like developing self aware, becoming self aware of yourself, of your actions, of your reactions, why you react this way, why you don't react that way, why some people are more sensitive than others, and others can actually laugh it off. That's what I mean by becoming self aware. Like back when I was saying I had this control issue that I had to work on. And it's something that took me a while to work on it, to stop trying to control everything. I mean, everything around me, to the point where when I want to control something, I'll bake, because I can control the recipe I make. I can control the ingredients I put in it. And that's right. I put it in. I put it in that. So I stuck it in this little baking box, so to speak. So developing self awareness. So one of the hardest things for me was looking at the fact that, oh my God, you are a freaking control freak. What is wrong with you? So, and I did, that's literally my first reaction about what was going on with me, myself on the inside. What about you, Marcy? And what about you guys out there? What is the one thing that when you look at yourself and you need to become self aware of something about yourself, that, of course, we have to work on it, like my control issue. So,
Mine was rescuing people, or and I had to learn that I was overcompensating for the things that I lacked. And so I would
okay.
want to, like, there was a family, the daughter just died, the mother and the other daughter, they had no place to live. I had to get an eviction, but I wanted to save the daughter. And my friend Ely's like, no, you can't do that. And so I've had to learn to step back because a lot of times we'll overcompensate what we lacked.
Yeah.
And we need to step on and like say, okay, well, because I didn't have this, I'm overdoing this. And so we need to step back and get our boundaries better on what's going on. And so it's just a matter of what we felt like we lacked. What are we doing to overgive or overcompensate?
Well, this is from Linda. Let's see how you feel about this one. She says she deals with the control thing too, which I do.
Right.
She says, but I know it is from a place of trauma. And yeah, it is for me too. There is a place of that I will probably always need to work on. It is what she's saying. Now, as far as that, she's saying hers comes from trauma. Yes, mine does come from trauma, which I have to control what's happening around me, and I understand that. Now, as far as do you agree with that statement? Hello, Michelle. I agree with it.
And I just read recently where when children are bossy in their childhood, they can't feel the emotions, and so they go into bossing people around. And I look at adults doing the same thing. It's like when we can't control our environment, we got to control what's on the inside
or
and not on the outside.
Sometimes when your life past anything past this second is past, all the past, there was a part of you that could not control a situation. That does create the trauma that makes you want to create what makes you want to control more of what happens around you. And I mean, that aspect I understand. I do. Like some individuals can't even go into like crowds, too many people at once. It drives them nuts. There's no control there. So for those that do have issues with that, that could be a problem for them as well. So it's something that we need to become self-aware of what it is that we need to work on. And this is all a process of trying to find our purpose. Right? No? Yes? Happy birthday, Marcy. Anybody that just came in, it's Marcy's birthday. Let's flood Facebook and YouTube with happy birthday, Marcy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good. And you just step back and you let people do whatever they need to do and not try to intervene, whatever.
That's hard. For someone like you, that's difficult.
Well,
because you're used to, you go into like trying to save people.
Well, I don't do that anymore.
Right. But that is something you used to do. So because of that, it's very difficult for you not to go in and say, and then you have your friends going, no.
Well, I was brought up as a rescuer, and a lot of times we have that training where we think we're supposed to do, and so then we have to step back, and it's like, I confronted my mom, and I confronted other people, and took back my power on what was going on, and now I'm just like, you are what you are. That's your reality, and I'm not going to try to control it or rescue it or whatever is going on, and I'll choose whether to be with you or not,
Exactly.
And go from there.
So here's the next one. The next thing that we need to do in order to help find our purpose. Now, this is help. This isn't gonna say wake up and boom, you find your purpose, but it's going to put you on the path to find it, because there is a lot of work, as Marcy and I were talking about earlier. You need to identify your passions. That's why you need to become self-aware, so you can identify what it is you're passionate about. Now, Marcy, what are you passionate about?
I flash on my childhood, and it was like dancing, and other lifetimes I was a dancer.
Right.
My photography, I love doing the pictures.
How does it make you feel? Why is it a passion?
It's almost like a release on your body. you know, or it's an expression. I was just telling Susan,
Yeah.
I just got a new wind chime, and one place didn't have the moon and stars, and then the other one did. And so now I've got like 5 wind chimes, but that's the sound. That's the healing. I rearrange. I play with my room a lot. It's almost like playing house in my different sections with the wizards, the hot
Because
red
it's
sites.
a passion of yours.
It's
That's
it's
part of your
playing.
passion. The way
Yeah,
that you rearrange and put the mirrors to get the energy to sit just
right,
right, it's a big passion for you.
right. Or you
But what
play.
else besides your healing is a passion for you? What other parts of you? What
Well,
about
like,
you guys out there too?
and that's what I said. It's the photography,
Yeah.
you know, whatever it is that goes on. And I wanted to. Susan and I were talking about this group is kind of more quality, not quantity, because what we're doing is a lot harder than
Mhm.
the surface level of tarot reading, whatever. We're going in depth, and so I
Yes.
want to
And that's
congratulate
what
all
it's
of you
about.
for you wanting to change, because I'll do readings on people and they'll get to a certain point and they flip switch on me that they got to a certain point. So the fact that you guys are still with us,
Yep.
I
Exactly.
congratulate all of you, because it is hard, but the end of it is so freedom feeling, as far as you can step back objectively and not get caught up into everybody else's stuff and like, no,
Exactly.
I don't want to participate in that person or situation. I'll choose to walk away. I kind of call it being on the fence. Somebody
Yeah.
pulls something on me, I'll sit on the fence
Right.
and I'll decide whether I want to go back into that situation or not. And then a
Right.
lot of times I have to pull away from myself from the fence, but at least I'm sitting there objectively looking at it. And if you look at that way, like, I'm going to be on the fence and I'm going to watch somebody, or
Right.
I'm going to watch this feeling, or I'm going to watch this different thing. And so if you look at it objectively and pull yourself away, then you could get more aware, like Susan was talking about.
Exactly. Now, let's see, Linda over here, and then we'll get into me here. Let's see. Linda says writing, cooking when I'm not on time rush, and my newest is painting. Awesome. I
Oh,
can do stick
good.
figures, which I believe is a gift from my granddaughter. Aw,
Oh,
that's sweet. See, with me, I have this I don't know. I think in literally, I'm starting to believe in one of my lifetimes I was a teacher, that I have to teach what it is that I learn. I have to teach someone else. I find some information and I think it's amazing. And it's like, oh, let's talk about this. And it's like, I get on these research modes where I go it. So yeah, teaching people, it's a big passion for me. My newest, of course, crochet and my jewelry, but I think my biggest one is trying to help and teach as many as possible, which is like a big insight to me. Before I thought it was about other things, but it's the actual teaching aspect of helping somebody and not letting individuals feel they're alone. Like, okay, I've been through this, you've been through this one's been, we understand each other. So it's
well,
that's part of the
and
passion of me.
that's all part of the ascension, because we have these
Yeah.
levels of it.
Yep.
And I remember I was like 22 or 23. It was like somebody that did my past life reading, and the Hindu temple that I went to, he goes, "Your purpose is to serve," you know. And
Ah,
but it's the balance of who we going to serve, or who's going to appreciate us, or who's not going to take
exactly.
advantage of us, or
Yep.
who are we going to continue giving.
Excuse me.
That's okay. I've been burping too, so I figured there's releases going on.
Every time I'm on the show with Marcy, I'm either burping or something. I don't know. But yeah,
I feel
I
like
agree.
they want to do another tone, so it's like almost the stuff surfaces and
Yes.
then it needs to be released.
And sometimes as you talk about it, it dawns on you, wow, that is what I'm passionate about. Or
Right.
wow, that is an awareness I didn't know about myself. So these things, yes, they do. They surface.
They do surface,
Yes.
and it's funny because, like I've said, when I do my tones, it's not linear. So it'll be like a past life will come up. It'll be post traumatic. It'll be inner child. So there's not like we need to do this at age 5. Your body will release, and it's usually parallel to what you're going through now,
Yeah.
of or some blockage that you have now that was parallel from before.
Exactly. Self-awareness and identifying your passions. Yes,
So
I agree.
I'm gonna hit a note or two, because I can hear them. I heard somebody's energy screaming, so that's good.
I heard almost like a gong, but a long one, not the actual bang, but the sound after you bang the gong when
Right,
it
the
goes,
resonate.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I heard.
Oh, and I wanted to tell, like, when I was up in Spokane, and I forgot the story. Bill and I, we went to go see his mom, and his mom and Crystal were doing transmedium work. We had Abe Lincoln, and we have all these different ones that are coming through. But we were talking about sound. Both Bill and I would get like these apports from the sky. Like all of a sudden we get like pennies from heavens, or we get gifts, or
Mm.
things get moved around. But there was literally a trumpet that was playing that
Oh,
we could hear. And when we were talking about sound and energy, so they do sounds,
yeah,
and they do energies that are going on. I got like this Indian head that was all cut out, or little crystals were calling. It had to be completely black, but they do hear us,
yeah,
and they do acknowledge us. And the higher we get with our vibration or soul purpose, the closer they can get to us.
yeah,
And so
true.
Susan's starting to get her journey more hearing things, or
Well,
feeling
it's not
things.
smelling things at the rate my allergies hit me.
I can't smell, but you would hear it smell like roses, or somebody that died would
Every
give
now
you
and then I
a.
can, but this
Yeah,
week
I have
is
a bad nose.
allergies are killing me. So here's the next one. And this sometimes is one of the hardest things to do. And this is what'll stop you from finding and living your purpose. Okay. Letting go of all grudges. That is a hard one to do. The idea is to remember the lesson, but you need to, and this is very difficult to do, you need to forgive the other individual and move on. That is one of the hardest things to do. How many of you guys out there are having issues letting go of past grudges? Literally, it's a difficult thing to do for some individuals. And I know that took me a while to kind of let that go, where I've learned to laugh off a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I find the world amusing now, where before, the guy's so driving in the car. What are you doing? Yeah, back at it's just learning to release it and let it go. Like Marcy releases a lot through her tones and her sound vibration, the way she sets up her room. And with me, I let go of things differently. And sometimes it takes me a little longer depending on the situation. But letting go of those grudges and forgiving is one of
Susan, I
the
was when
hardest.
when my parents put my sister as being
Yeah,
trustee, I was angry for a lot of years.
exactly.
And I call it soul killing, because you learn not to live anymore. You learn to be angry, or you learn to be like the victim. And once you get out of that victim, and I remember, like, one of the things when I was talking to Elohim when Abby was channeling is, I go, well, we're all survivors, not victims. He goes, you're not survivors, you're fighters. And
Oh,
I thought that was a
sorry.
really, that's okay, you're releasing. But it was kind of neat that they said that we're fighters, and we are. And we have to fight, you know. It's
Mm.
like the saying about a gardener being a warrior is better than a warrior being a gardener, because you could be peaceful, but if you need to fight, you will. But if you
Right.
don't, then you won't know how to fight. So it's kind of interesting to stay in that. But if you need to switch onto that mode, you
Right.
can.
Yeah. So that's like I said, that's one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
Another thing, and again, if the individuals who have had trauma in their past, or put downs or whatever it is, as far as the grudges and the negativity, we have to learn how to be open for new opportunities. That's another difficult one. Let's get into what Linda's saying over here. Let's see. Let's see. There is one that I will never forgive, but I came to a place many years ago where I feel it isn't always my place. I look at it like it is up to my higher power to take care of this for me. Yeah, you could do it. That I mean, it's hard, but the forgiving aspect of this is not literally for the other person. It's more for you.
You need to let go of that poison. They say you're holding the poison
Exactly.
in your hand.
My I forget who said this. It was my mother or my grandmother. I don't know. I was always taught, if they're not paying you rent to rent space in your head or your heart, boot them out. Like, it's not worth it. That's what I was always told. But by holding on to these things, what are you doing? You're going to stop yourself from being open to new opportunities coming at you. You won't be able to look at those opportunities because you're still in that anger mode. These things are going to be coming, and they'll be coming open. So we need to keep our eyes open and shred all this dead skin weight off our aura, off our energy, and allow it to come forward. Agree?
And
Disagree?
people and
Agree.
people and people will feel it. They'll notice you got a new haircut, or they'll notice something different.
Right.
People thought I lost weight. At that point, I gained weight, but it's an energy that I was letting go. And so
Right.
people will respond on an energy level as to what it is, and then they'll react to you differently, or they'll just leave. If you don't match them anymore, then you're like, I'm done with this person, or I've completed that part of myself,
Exactly.
and I'm going to bring in new higher people that I can match.
Exactly. Exactly. And that goes right along with the next one that's actually coming up, because you need to be open for new possibilities. Now, after dealing with all the past and letting that go, one of the harder things to do is to actually create and strengthen relationships, especially if you've had past issues. Sometimes going into it is scary. Sometimes it's like you have to pull yourself back in certain situations to understand, okay, it's not that situation, it's something else. It's reminding yourself, and you have to do that in order to strengthen and open up a lot better relationships for you. That is another thing that needs to be worked on in order to find your, I know this makes no sense, but these things need to be worked on in order to find your soul purpose.
And sometimes when you get right to the brink of it, you'll find the most resistance. I remember like somebody doing energy work on me, and it was like my throat, and we had to work through a couple of times
Yep.
because it's unfamiliar. You go with what's familiar. When it's unfamiliar, your body's like, I don't know this. And then you react
Exactly.
in a certain way, and you've got to push through it like, okay, we're going to acknowledge it, release it, treat it like a death, woulda, coulda, shoulda,
Yeah.
and then let it go.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. And then rebuilding relationships knowing that this is actually different because you've done the work. That's another avenue that's a little more. My glasses keep sliding off my face today. My nose is stuffy. I'm falling apart.
Or putting yourself back together.
Damn. Gorilla glue to the rescue.
Susan, I got to do a low tone now.
Okay.
All right. big burp. Like when you go to church and they have the hands-on healing, I do
Yeah.
that also. And they want me to go like this
Yeah.
and then transfer the energy. Ah! I heard somebody again screaming, but it was releasing on their survival.
You just scared the poopy out of me.
I'm sorry. It's like a death rebirth. I half the time I've done it louder and scared people.
How many out of you got scared too? She scared the poopy out of me. I'm telling you.
Hey, we released something.
Yeah, that scare was like, oh my God, what's wrong? That's all I kept thinking. All right.
Nothing's wrong.
Now, what Marcy just did was toning, which brings us into the next category. Consult various divination tools. And again, divinatory, divination. What Marcy does is she says a little startling, he says, spooked Linda too. So, yes, divination. When Marcy does her tones, it's her form of divination. When I'm reading the oracle deck or I'm using psychometry, that's a form of divination. So there are many different forms of like divination that will help you find your path and open up to it. Not everybody is going to be the same. You will find a tool that is good for you, whether it's a pendulum or pen and paper, or you can draw more than stick figures because I can't. So all of these things you do are a form of divination that are going to help you reach your path or your goal.
Permission slips, as I think Bashar says. I give myself to permission to open up.
Yes.
Agree.
These little things are really helpful. Now, here's one I can guarantee you that teenagers have an issue with, unless it's the little devil on their shoulder. No offense, I'm picking on teens today. So, or my grandchildren. Yeah, they got into trouble yesterday. All right, listening to your inner voice. How many of you are guilty out there of not listening to that little inner voice? Okay, sometimes they'll urge you to go somewhere, or they'll say, or you'll be like, nah, I don't want to be in a crowd. I don't want to go. I don't want to be in a crowd. I don't want to go. You could be stopping yourself from reaching that good goal. Okay. Or if they say, don't go and you go anyways, again, the opposite could happen. It could be something negative. So what it is that we all need to learn to listen to our own little inner voice. My mother used to call him the angel and devil on the shoulder. So that's something else that we need to listen to. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something.
Me?
Yeah.
No, it's just back to that Stevie Wonder energy thing.
I just felt someone behind me.
Well, they're probably acknowledging, and that's where when something is true when it resonates in your body.
Yeah.
You'll get the chills. Somebody will say stuff, and it's like, oh, I got the chills. That's when your body will start telling you it's accurate. And truth has its own frequency where it knows it. And people may not want to hear the truth.
Oh, yeah.
And you may lose people, but as long as you say whatever you say, that goes on.
Exactly.
And so there's different ways, your gut feeling, or you'll stop in the middle of something like, oh, I'm not supposed to go there,
Right.
And there's different ways as muscles, seeing, feeling, hearing, whatever it is going on. And you can ask your angels to guide you because they can't do anything unless you give them permission.
Exactly. Do you ever get in a car and just start driving, have no idea where you're going, but you're supposed to go that direction? That's listening,
I had an
hearing a voice.
experience in Mount Shasta where this friend of mine that was in Colorado, he drove over from Colorado. We went to Mount Shasta.
Right.
This is one of my experiences of Mount Shasta. And we pulled over and it was snowing. And we ended up going spiritually inside the mountain.
Oh,
You,
wow.
you know, or another time I was with another friend and I was teaching her to pick up spirits. And
Right.
we saw like what you call the blue lady on Mount Shasta. We were camping out. We saw her. And then somebody had a painting of it. So you'll be guided into certain things. You don't know why, but it's usually
Exactly.
like when we think about something, we've lost it.
Yes.
And so we go wherever we're meant to go. You know, I went up to Washington and with these two guys from Florida, and it was like all these deja vu's that were happening, you know, and they went to go apple picking in July. There are no apples in July. But it was the starting of my journey. And then I
Yeah.
ended up moving into the au pair work. So you never know where you go or why you're guided, or different places have PowerPoints,
Yeah.
you know?
It's sometimes, especially like in today's society, it's very difficult to listen to that inner voice because a part of you knows you're supposed to do something. But and you can't do that because you have to be at this job. You have to be taking care of the kids. You have to be doing this or doing that or going back and forth. There's always something coming up. So sometimes those situations get in the way of us sitting here and listening to our inner voice. It's like, yes, I know you want me to go to this direction, but I can't right now because I've got to go do this for this one. And that happens a lot. And I think that was one of my issues for the longest time was I was always too busy to listen. And that's not a good place to be, being too busy to listen, being too busy to pay attention. So, and now that I'm not busy and I actually am in an apartment by myself, no kids, it's like you put something down and it's still there. It's really cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning that too with all the stillness of before I was
Yeah.
rescuing all these people or friends or
Yeah.
driving. And now it's like those diseases, my body are, you know, I wanted to say something which I thought about earlier. When we break our leg or our arm, it's almost like our body is saying you need a break. And
Yeah.
so sometimes our body will fall apart at that time that we need to rest or whatever's going on. If we're not going to do it, the universe will do it for us.
Yes. Yes. Let's see. Let's see what Linda has to say here. Linda says, yes, responsibility and commitments. And for me, often I find myself, if that little inner voice is correct, but there are times when I know for sure, without a doubt, that it's something to pay attention to. Yeah. And that happens. And I think for the longest time, because I had all the kids and I worked and I went to college and all these things, I was always too busy to listen. And if I would have listened back when I was younger, maybe I would be further on my journey, but maybe I would be a different person than I am right now because of the lessons that I've went through that I've learned. So I don't know. I
Well,
look at it that way.
I think that Betty Bethara had another book too, and it's called Sleeping Masters. And what happens is, and this is kind of like in that soul purpose, we have ordinary lives until we're 40, 50, 60, and then all of a sudden we find out we have these gifts. But we've had these gifts before, but it wasn't the right time.
Right.
And so we're supposed to do when we're more mature or less ADHD or whatever is going on, that all of a sudden it's like, oh, I could do this, or, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it
Or
is.
part of your gift develop and the other parts don't. Like I started off with just readings, and that's what it
Right,
was. It was just, I don't know, somebody said, here's a deck. Okay. I started channeling the deck, and then the deck was taken away, and the next
right.
thing I know, it just kind of progressed from there. But um, there's journeys in certain things, and the universe for me just released like a little. Then it was, ha ha, you're alone. Figure this out.
Well, and that's kind of like with the higher self. The higher self isn't all of a sudden you're going to be this. The higher
Yes.
self is looking on the mountain saying, okay, turn left. So we do these baby steps. It's like, okay, well, I'm going left.
Right.
And that's how they go. They go step by step. So it's not like all of a sudden we get these powers or these energies.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, it is a little step, and we just got to allow those baby steps to go,
Agree.
and
I
then they'll go
think
on the
I
next
think
step.
with me what it was is that I was always so busy that it I didn't pay attention. So now that I'm more like, peaceful or calmer and I have my space and things, now it's at the point where I think I'm noticing more
Right.
of what I
Objectively
was.
standing
Right.
back,
Yes.
not being in the middle of the tornado. You got to
Yes.
step out of the tornado.
Yes.
And like, okay, well, they're whirling around.
I cannot look at the door in the middle of a show, dude. I can't look at the door. One of these days my dog's going to talk back to me. I swear to God. All right. So it's also saying that the best way for you both to discover and align with your soul purpose is to cultivate a deep sense of trust. Now, here's the thing. How many of your guys out there have had issues trusting yourself because of decisions you made? We get back into the woulda, coulda, shoulda is what we're getting into. So I made this decision. So should I make this? Should I not? Is it going to happen? Is it going to overreact? Is it going to be the same? Is what's going to happen? So you end up freaking out because why? Because you're not trusting yourself. I noticed since I had my nails done, I'm talking with my hands more. I don't know.
There's energy with, people would
Yeah.
watch it like when I do my tones, my friend Ben would say, "Oh, Marcy, there's gold coming out," or I would move my hands, and then all of a sudden, oh, green's coming out. So if we look at our hands and we move them, because I do
Yeah.
that all the time, and they'll see
Yeah.
all
It's
the
like I'm
colors
doing this
coming
now.
out, and we just go with
Yeah.
it, or drumming, or whatever we feel like we need to release with
So
it.
what and again, guys, it's very difficult. I mean, I myself could tell you that yes, I've had trust issues with myself. Trusting, am I making the right decision? Am I doing the right thing? Am I heading in the right direction? Oh no, I'm going to falter. I'm not going to do this right. I'm not going to do that right. But I'm able to take a step back, almost like you said. I step out of myself to see what's happening first and then start to head in that direction. So
So you go on that fence.
easier.
Just
Yeah.
visualize yourself on that fence, and it's like,
Yeah.
do I want to go there? Does this feel right? What's
Yes.
up on the other side of the fence? And then if you've just got to step back objectively, you
And I
know.
think that was one of the hardest things for me. I always worry that I'm not making the right decision. I'm not doing the right thing, or maybe I should have talked about this. Maybe I should have talked about that. And these are the things that I bring up. It's like you get into that woulda, coulda, shoulda worry part. But then you have to like step out of yourself saying, okay, relax. Allow to be guided into the direction you want
Well,
to
you
go
go
into.
into that
Right.
quiet center part of your heart, and then you'll find out which direction to go. All of a sudden, I'll be
Exactly.
somewhere, and I'm like, I need to go now, and I don't know why, or I'll walk away from somebody, and it's like almost like my instincts are like, you need to go on to the next step. I don't know why. You don't need to
Yeah,
explain it to people. Just back away, go do whatever you need to do. And there may be somebody
exactly.
at the end of it, and just stay in that center point. And we can look at everything negative or positively. It's all up to us as to what we've learned negatively
Exactly.
and work through it.
Agree. Linda says that it's a part of the human experience.
Right.
I'll put this up so everybody else can see it as well. She says that's part of the human experience. I think as we get older or maybe a bit wiser, we can learn to trust in us more. And I agree. Some trust right off the bat with their instincts or their intuition. But those of us that have been through things, it's harder for us to actually trust what's going to happen. And again, trust that you have the answers within yourself and allow that divine guidance to come through. That's a big part of finding our purpose, finding our path is what I'm mainly talking about. Our life's purpose. It's to start on that, get on that path. Once you get on the path, the trust that the universe is guiding you into that right direction.
Well, and Susan, when I do my tarot readings, and I usually do full deck readings because it'll give the whole picture. And a lot of times I'll say, do you want to burn your hand on your stove 6 times, 7 times, 8 times? And then once they know, then they're like, okay, I'm shifting, so I don't need to burn my hand on the stove again, and I've learned or completed whatever it is that I need to learn.
Oh, you mean like a lesson? Am I going to put my hand on top of a hot stove? Okay. I'm saying, do you really ask people to burn their hand? I was having a blonde moment.
A metaphor. I should have clarified that one. But
I am blonde.
I was blonde. Now I'm just gray.
Nah, I'm purple here somewhere too. I put some purple in here.
But once we know, or we could shift, and I keep on going, if you keep on going this direction, this is what's going to happen, And a lot of times when I do the readings, I say the more intricate the question, the more detailed we can get to whatever's going on. People ask a general question, they're going to get a general answer.
Exactly.
So they have to fine point what exactly it is that they want and narrow it down more and more, and then feel whatever is going on there.
And I think that was the purpose of this spin-off show, Becon in the Dark, was to talk deeply about certain aspects for those individuals that are right on the cusp of being totally awake. They needed guidance as well. And I think that's why it was like, okay, Becon in the Dark. I started doing it. It's like, okay, Marcy's going to come on. That's what I was told. So Marcy comes on. So it's like, I was just going with the flow, getting used to it, and, just reevaluating it. It's just something, it's a path that I can say, I know we're meant to travel together in order to assist individuals.
And having a support system along with it.
Exactly. And that's what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. I mean, if you tell me that you've seen a 6-legged dog come in and out of existence, we could talk about that. You're probably talking about a portal. See, over here, there's no such word as crazy. Okay. In other words, things happen for a reason, is what it is. So, and again, another thing we're going to get into, I think we got time for maybe 1 or 2 more of this, but okay. In order for us to discover our soul purpose, another thing we need to get into, and it's another very difficult thing to do, because we're all talking about self. As Marcy says, she's doing the work with the toning and the healing and the burping. That's it coming out, which is another way of saying engaging with your self-reflection. And I don't mean looking in the mirror and saying, okay, I don't see that wrinkle. Nope. It's not there. No, I'm beautiful and young. Yep. No. I'm talking about your inner self, your soul, your essence of who we are. Reflect on yourself. Am I perfect? No. I am so not perfect, but that's okay. People that know me know I mean well, but I'm not perfect, but I'm good with that. And people that know me aren't good with that. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. The inner essence of yourself, which is what Marcy does with the tones, is help you get that inner stuff inside. On the reflecting part, she'll bring it up. And yeah, it'll come out in a burp, and sometimes it comes out in a fart. What are you going to do? It happens. Either way, it's air. Right?
Or smells. I worked on somebody and he smelled for like 2-3 days. It'll come out nauseousness. It'll come out. Our body will release whatever it is that's going on.
Exactly.
And, like I was talking to Susan, it's like now that I'm alone, she's alone. My body is healing the stuff that I was spending too many time rescuing or helping people or whatever.
Right.
Now my body's like, you've got all this time. So we're going to have you work on your diseases.
Yeah.
And, my blood sugar is doing good.
Yeah,
And
like your blood sugar surfaced, my teeth issue all of a sudden surfaced. So it's evidently I haven't had time for it in the past. So now that I have time, I've got to have it taken care of. So yeah, like you had to have your diabetes taken care of as well. Oh, yeah, that's happening. Okay. Let's see. So I'm finding that, let's see. All right, and this one is from Gail. Hello, Gail. So I'm finding that the more I work on myself, my husband gets worse, sometimes mad and downright mean to you.
because you're mirroring him. The more clear we get, I call it the psychic Mary Poppins.
Right.
You guys married at the same frequency. You're changing now. And a lot of like therapists, they go through a lot of divorce because they change. And so as you get yourself clearer and clearer, you're going to mirror his own energy that are going on. And that's his trip that's happening because you're getting to be clear. And as you get clear, people on their energy can't handle it. That's why I said it's a psychic Mary Poppins thing, or people flip switch. They get to a certain point, they can't handle it because you're penetrating their energy.
And sometimes it's because you weren't noticing things before because it was just part of normal life. And now that you're becoming more aware, more positive, more peaceful, and more level, maybe you're noticing it more. And maybe it was just like trying to get that even keel of, was this always like this and I didn't notice? Or is it something that he's changed because of what Marcy's talking about, the energy level? It could be one of two. So it could be either or. That's a difficult thing to deal with, but no, you're not crazy. I have had kids change on me. Like, I went from the best mommy in the world to, oh my God, you're a psycho.
Oh, I've been there. But you gotta not take their reality personally.
Exactly.
Step back again out of that tornado or get onto the fence and like, oh, okay, I'm observing these things, and then
Yeah.
not get emotionally involved, with being an empath where you're just I feel another tone coming on.
Gail,
Release
they said this one's for you. I don't know why. I
this
was
one's for
told
me.
that tone is for Gail. That's what I was just told.
Yeah, I was getting that too. Because she needs to release. I could feel like right out of her heart chakra.
Yeah.
I used to do text readings, with people across the country. That was always interesting, where I never talked to people, but I was doing the readings.
Yeah.
All right, Gail, this one's Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. They're going to come in releasing out of your heart because your heart's really heavy right now. The screaming's coming out of her heart, that inner pain that goes on.
That was cool. I put a triangle like this and I put it on my heart as you were doing the tone to focus it. I actually felt it more that way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
pyramids, triangles.
Yeah, like this. So
Yeah.
I put it like right here and I felt it more that way. She says some of both, she thinks. So she thinks he's changing a little bit, but maybe he was
Right.
like that. And also it's
Remember,
both ways.
we're a radio dial, and as
Yeah.
we change, we're going to shift that radio and that
Exactly.
frequency, and we may not match those people. We outgrow a lot of people,
Yeah, we do.
and if they
We
choose to go
definitely do.
with us, that's great. But a lot of times, they don't want to, so they deflect. It's our problem, not them.
Exactly.
And
that's
we don't wanna look
what
at
this show is about. Marcy and I are here to help you with 2, 20, or 12 different views. You never know with me. And that's what it's about. Literally, come here, tell us. We'll talk to you right about it. Because
And then when
that's
you
what it's
write
for.
to
And
us,
she says thank you.
does she feel different?
She said thank you and hands.
The hand.
I can't even make that emoji. I'm too odd.
Well, and that's why it's like when you talk to us and you write to us, we know we can pinpoint the energy
Yeah,
of what's going on. I mean, I will feel
exactly.
somebody screaming, but I don't know who or what it is that goes on. You
And
know,
sometimes she'll do like tones on me, and it'll release in the middle of the night because I don't know, maybe it's the Irish stubborn shit with me.
no,
I mean
I call
stuff.
it, Susan, I call it the 3 rule. From what I've done working on people is 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days. Because,
Ah,
and that's where all of a sudden the energy will shift, or people with whatever it is that's going on. And so it's like,
exactly.
I can't slam all that people. It's like, it's good once a week because then they could process,
Yeah.
think about it. I go and I take a bath and I'm like, okay, I should have, would have, could have said
Oh
this.
my God, I did that the other day, the first time in a long time. I took a nice salt bath. I got up, I saged my house. I felt
Oh,
so good. I have not done that in a while, and I don't know why. My son moved out, oh God, maybe almost 3 years now. And my man has his own apartment, but we're always together. He lives in the same building as me, but I have all this like space. And even when he's here, I don't feel like crowded, or it's just, I don't know. I
because
finally
other
found my
people's
perfect
energies are
mate.
coming
Yeah.
in on us.
Yeah.
You know?
He is literally my perfect match. This man is my perfect match. He even loves my poopy puppy.
Oh,
I know. So, and here's one more before we get going because we're at 7:56. But decide what your values, needs, and beliefs are. Ironic you said Mary and Mary Magdalene. She is the patron saint. And hold on. This is from Gail. She is the patron saint. And yes, I felt that calming. Good. And that's
well,
that's what it's
and
about.
she's known
Awesome.
as the pink. She's actually Lady Nada. She's Christ's twin flame. They
Yeah.
work together, and I kept on hearing Lady Nada, and I'm like, who's that? But she was Mary Magdalene, which Magdalene was a badge of honor, but it's like Christianity changed everything.
Yeah,
But
they did.
the whole thing about her energy and his energy, because I've been working with them for a while now,
Yeah.
but they'll come in and they're doing the unconditional love through the heart, and they'll
Yes.
release, and that will raise your vibration. You'll get higher guides. You may start hearing them. You may start feeling like doing different things. You may start shifting.
Yeah.
I gotta do one
Literally,
little.
like I have been trying for years to learn how to crochet. Sounds weird, but I'm a grandmother. You're supposed to crochet. It's the way I look at it, right? I've been trying to teach myself for years, and all of a sudden, I learned and I can do it, and I'm addicted. It's like
Well, it's
it was a
meditative.
shift. Maybe it was because I have that patience and I have that time now. She has
Unfinished.
been in my life for a long time now, since childhood. That is really good. Mary Magdalene has. So that's a good thing. That's
Yeah,
from
and
Gail.
Lady Nada. You go look those up.
Yep.
I gotta do a low one. This one's Buddha. Somebody's high pitched stress sound came out, but we had to do the high and the lows. Something's cracking out of your survival, Susan.
I was in survival mode for the longest time. Yeah, I was.
We have that.
Survival mode.
It's funny. I read about. We may not remember things, but our nervous system does.
Yeah.
And that really resonated because we have reactions, triggers. We forget, or our cognitive has this, but our body, our cellular memory remembers everything. It remembers being in the womb. It remembers past lives. It
Yes.
remembers everything that has an emotion. And once we release those, then it's a freedom, a
Right.
lightness. You know, we have to go through the goopy stuff first, and
Like,
that's why I want to congratulate all you guys for sticking with us. You know, as far
sorry,
as what's
burped
going
again.
on.
It's Marcy's fault.
Hey, it's a guide's fault. I'm just the catalyst.
All right,
It's
so
not
let's
fair.
say it one more time, guys. We got 1 minute left of the show. One more time, everybody. Let's say happy birthday to Miss
Thank
Marcy,
you. Love
who
you all.
chose to
Glad you
spend
didn't
her
miss my
birthday with us. And this is what I want you guys to look at. Decide what your values, needs, and beliefs are. That's another way that's going to help you. What are your values? You got to really look at this deep, man, you know?
And it's funny. It's like when we're talking about relationships, I just wanted to do this. I forgot who wrote about her husband. It's like there was a married couple that said every year they negotiate. This is what I want. This is what I don't want, because you're not the same person you were before. So, and you can do this with other people too. These are my needs. These are my wants. This is what I don't want. And so if you guys could both sit down and explain what you want, and like a renegotiation of like a contract.
That's a good idea.
Because and I love that line. And so as I've read all these different things,
yeah,
you're not the same as you were. And you're the new normal 5 minutes ago, 5 seconds ago.
Exactly. That makes a lot of sense, actually. It really does. Wow, I still got all these pages.
Your research was good, Susan.
I love researching.
I know you do. Whenever I saw that past life with you with all those books, and that's gonna stay in
it's
my
like
mind.
I still do it. And look, I have my one pen, and it never leaves my desk.
Well, I've got my crystals, I got my chimes, I've got my audio visual kinesthetic, I play house,
Oh, it's a pen I bought for myself. I just thought it was so cool. It was like, wow, this is a cool pen. So I bought it and spit on my desk.
It is, and I just got some new chimes, and
So, guys, this is what I want you to do. I want you to stay tuned to the Rift Nation Network every chance you get, because you never know what's going to happen and what awesome shows that we'll be having coming out. Make sure you guys check out your sponsors, and don't forget to check out SS Crystal and Crafts over on Facebook and on Instagram. That is also a sponsor of the Rift Nation Network. So check them out as well. And awesome. Have an awesome time. Have a piece of cake for Marcy. That's your excuse to eat junk food today. Okay, if you see a piece of cake, you got to eat it because it's Marcy's birthday. She's diabetic, so you got to eat it for her.
No, I had some bread pudding and gave the rest to my son. He wants to give me some chocolate. So that was nice.
I know there's a store that used to carry diabetic junk food, and I can't remember the name of the store. It was someplace that was ordered offline for, it was a long time ago. My father's father. Somewhere in Franklin, he used to order it.
No, you get cacao, the real chocolate, know. I told him that. He says See's candy. I'm like, See's candy is okay. But the thought counts.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So hopefully you had an awesome birthday. And guys, thank you so much.
And I am, and I'm glad I got to spend it all with you guys.
So we're having a good time, and we're starting to get our groove going together here again. It took a while. So, and now that I can be more goofy and I don't have to be, don't you do that.
We need to play. That's where we're impulsive, instinctive.
I am natural goofball. I always have been.
I am too. With certain people. Other than that, I'm like serious. It depends on who I'm with.
I'm just goofy all the time. I really am. I'll get serious when I meditate or know something to talk about something, but I was going to throw that goofball stuff in. All right, guys. Peace. I love you. And don't forget, don't take yourself too seriously, okay? Because the world wants to take you seriously. So if they're
stay on the right side of the brain, play, laugh, dance, sing.
That's right. If they're going to talk crap, give them something good to talk about. That's the way I look at it. Make sure it's awesome. All right. Is this the right one? Yes. Bye.